I managed to land on a bench this time. And yes, we've hit the designed worldline target, universe sector 0057 epsilon. So, for those of you who are watching this on YouTube in the real world, where we left off last week, we had discovered that a Type 5 species had been infiltrating the worldline of indigenous people and destroyed it from within. The Consensus Assembly of the Type 5 Alliance has managed to review the footage from my last report and take a look at the worldline itself, and we have discovered a new enemy amongst Type 5 species known as the SpinDoctors. They basically go in and strip curiosity out of the species and make them blindly follow authority until they destroy themselves because of it. Normally, their target seems to be children most of all. However, while the Type 5 Alliance is working on developing a method for tracking and capturing this species, I have been sent to 0057 epsilon, a semi-dead world where they've already affected, in the hopes of seeing how wormhole incursions, etc. might happen in order to block this species from being able to enter world lines, especially the real world 0057 alpha. Anyway, let's begin our experiments for today, shall we? So today, for universe sector 0057 epsilon, I took the liberty of bringing a pack which contains the experiments we calibrated in 57 alpha a couple of observer reports ago, and also allows us to calibrate to the local universe's physical laws. If there's any variations from 57 alpha to here, we will detect them using the equivalence between entanglement and gravity experiment. The good news is there are still some cars running in 57 epsilon, so we know there are still people around here. The SpinDoctors haven't destroyed this civilization anywhere nearly as bad as they did 57 gamma. So, we will bring the experiment out. And once again, why is it every time it goes back in the bag, it has this befuddlement? Okay, anyway, so here we are. Let's keep these stabilized. Stop them here. So what we're going to do is as follows. I'm going to adjust my view back to there. Now what we're going to do is we're going to set these off one at a time. If they start syncing up of their own accord, with regards to the countersinks, then we know we're good. So let's start this one, wide swing. Let's start this one, very narrow swing, and see how long it takes before the two of them. So here's the interesting bit. They are starting to sync back up with one another. Kind of. We're just going to wait to see how long this takes. Last time it didn't take very long at all. And what do you know? Even though one is wide and one is narrow, they are becoming almost perfectly in sync with one another. The longer this takes, the longer we know that the higher the gravity is in this world line. Or sorry, lighter the gravity is because it's taking long for the parts to counterswing. And okay, they are counterswinging fairly effectively, which tells us that 57 epsilon is fairly similar to 57 alpha in terms of gravity, vacuum energy, and various strengths like the electromagnetic constant. This will be good enough so that I can start now monitoring for wormhole incursion techniques. Okay, so in order to set up the experiment properly, the plan is that we are going to use micro wormholes to see how many coins I can summon in here before the energy fades out. The more coins I can summon, the more entry points the SpinDoctors have. With any luck, we'll be able to figure out how to patch the wormholes. So here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, whoops, 9, 10, 11. So we have 11 here. Now let's count them out. I'll put this one here. 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. One for each dimension of M theory. So, the good news is, we now know how the micro wormholes form, which is how the SpinDoctors put in their tendrils. I'm going to do a couple more experiments to work out on this dead world line, and we'll go from there. The last experiment we're going to do is we're going to attempt to see if there's any consciousness of the former residents of 0057 epsilon. So just to confirm here, we have a blank post-it note, and I'm going to try to see if there are any entities that want to say hello. If there are any entities that want to say hello here, please let me know. Whoa, that was weird. The blank post-it note, the spirits just wrote on it. Okay. Any spirits or consciousness that are still here afterwards, we'll have a deeper conversation off recording. Okay, so good news and bad news. And good news. Good news. This world line is much more fully populated than 0057 Gamma, which had nature taken over after the SpinDoctors effectively destroyed the world line. Bad news. I did try to talk to some of the locals. Nobody wanted to talk. It seems like everybody in this world line is afraid of the SpinDoctors in one way or another. Good news, however, I did manage to find the leftover consciousness of some of the kids, like we showed in the previous clip, who said hello, and they made a recommendation. Toys that literally encourage motor coordination and thought, like this particular thing they called an infinity cube. They gave me an example to take back to universe sector $117 and to refer back to universe sector 001 with the observers for analysis. The consensus assembly of the Type 5 Alliance is in agreement that if we can start encouraging more work with kinesthetic toys, scientific toys, educational programming, etc., we should be able to combat the SpinDoctors affecting the minds of children across all world lines. Anyway, this is pretty much it for this episode of Observer Report. After I have uploaded the memories of the observer who's helping me record this, and they're all been edited, they will be transferred to my contact in Universe Sector 0057 Alpha for the YouTube channel for Overlapping Magisteria. Maggie, of course, my colleague, is doing some other stuff, but we'll deal with that later. Anyway, thanks again for everyone for tuning into this, and remember, engage kids with critical thinking at a very young age. This prevents SpinDoctors and other authority figures from taking away their curiosity, preventing them from questioning everything, and teaching them what to think, not how to think. In the meantime, I am signing off. I'll just put this away and be on my way. Okay, small addendum to the previous observer report. Before I return to Universe Sector $117 Safe Haven, which was rebooted to its original artificial universe sector number recently, I was to make one further addendum. My boss, codenamed Flux, working in conjunction with the consensus assembly, has been able to find a way to turn those infinity cubes that those consciousness of children in 0057 epsilon helped me materialize. They're going to be turned into shields and transported to kids across multiple world lines in the 5-7 sheaf. They will also have similar protections to the hyperspheres that I am now able to help consolidate. Anyway, as you can see, they disappear, but the point is that we will have similar protections for kids in these world lines who still want curiosity and want to one day become Type 5 in their own right. Little bit of update in 5.7 alpha. There is a paper in preprint which has a template using something called the EPR equals ER conjecture for generating wormholes. That paper will be linked in the description of this memory report when it goes to YouTube. It's in peer review with a journal as well, I understand, but there's some technical surrounding that. The key point is we now have a method, primitive though it is, for blocking the SpinDoctors. They seem to do most of their invasion through micro wormholes, dropping programming, ideas, etc. to affect the minds of children. And while we are working on blocking their incursions across the 5.7 sheaf before they hit 5.7 alpha, the real world, we will also be trying to track back through the dummy wormholes they've set up, back to their home universe to contain them and block them to prevent them from affecting the minds of any future children. Anyway, in the meantime, see ya!